Welcome back. Time for us to go behind the headlines. And in the headlines today, the Drug Czar Gil Kerlikowske is out trumpeting the new Adam 2 report. That's adult drug abuse monitoring, arrestee drug abuse monitoring, where they survey and test people that are arrested and have various statistics to back this up. The story coming out of McClatchy, one of the DC news services, headlines it with marijuana is drug most often linked to crime. Marijuana is linked to crime. So Gil Kerlikowske, the drug czar, said Thursday that we got to dismiss legalization as a bumper sticker approach, and said the study by his office showed a strong link between drug use and crime. 80% of the adult males arrested for crimes in Sacramento, California last year tested positive for at least one illegal drug. Marijuana was the most commonly detected drug, found in 54% of those arrested. Researchers found that marijuana was the most popular drug used by men who'd been arrested in all the cities, ranging from a low of 37% in Atlanta to a high of 58% in Chicago. Chicago also had the highest overall positive test results, with 86% of the men found to have had at least one drug in their bloodstreams. Saying that drugs are fueling much of the crime in the United States, Kerlikowske used the study to make a pitch for more treatment. Really? Quote, "That means addressing those factors that contribute to drug offenses, factors that all too often include the disease of addiction," Kerlikowske said in a speech at the Urban Institute, a public policy research center in Washington. "It means abandoning simplistic bumper sticker approaches, such as boiling the issue down to a war on drugs or outright legalization," end quote. Now, you know me. Adam 2's report is out, so I look shit up. So I took a look at it, and it's very interesting in this report because part of the data that they researched for Adam 2, in addition to testing the arrestees for drugs, is asking them whether or not they use alcohol, and specifically whether or not they'll use 5 drinks or more at a sitting. Now, that information, strangely enough, is not included in this report from the Office of National Drug Control Policy, where they're trying to link marijuana to crime. And of course, Reason.com picked up on this as well. The Drug Czar report on crime and drug use is really a report about being poor and getting caught. The reason that marijuana is so often detected in people that commit crimes is because marijuana is so often detected in people. Period. It's a very popular drug. And it lasts in your system for a very, very long time. So you're going to get a disproportionate number of people that are going to test positive for marijuana compared to people using other drugs, crack, meth, whatever it might be, cocaine, that will flush out of their system within a few days. There could be a huge disparity there. I love how Reason writes this up. In addition to asking arrestees how often they used illegal drugs in the past year, interviewers also asked them how often they consumed 5 or more alcoholic drinks, but the drug use statistics are included in the report. The alcohol data are not. Now, Reason's got a Freedom of Information Act request in on this to find out what the report was here. But when we look at a previous report, now this does go back to 2006, but it's from the Pacific Institute for Research and Evaluation. They found crimes attributable to alcohol cost $84 billion, more than 2 times the $38 billion attributable to drugs. And furthermore, we must examine how much of this crime, and what you're talking about here, is someone committing a crime because of drugs, or committing a crime because drugs are illegal, or the crime was just having the drugs in the first place. This could make a huge difference when we're talking about whether there's any correlation or causation involved here. If you have a situation where 12-13% of the American public is using marijuana, it's not a surprise to find that a lot of people, especially poorer people, especially people getting caught for nuisance crimes, are going to have marijuana in their systems. When you actually look at this Adam data, you find a lot more correlation to statistics having to do with whether or not they had a high school education, what their income level was, what the relative crime level was. in the area they've been arrested, how many economic opportunities are available there. There are about 19 other things we could point the finger at from this ADAM data, but of course Gil Kerlikowske and the Project Sammers and the rehab industries got to find some way to reposition the drug war that only 7% of the American public believes we're winning. That only 6% of the American public believes there should be any jail time for marijuana whatsoever, and places out here on the West Coast where we are now getting strong majorities that believe there should be a legalization and regulation of marijuana. So they are losing this battle. They're desperate to find a way to change that school to prison pipeline, that neighborhood to prison pipeline, into the neighborhood to rehab pipeline. Keep the money flowing, keep the grant money going, and keep these rehabbers in business. And maintain the criminality of marijuana, which is used as a pretext to get people in the system.
That was weird. I felt 420 come on. I was reading something, and then I said, just stopped and said, it's time to do something.
It's amazing how that circadian rhythm kicks in.
Right then.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam